And that's how I believe personal brands are now created. People come to realize their own journey, like me, and they realize, well, maybe it wasn't for nothing. Maybe I can use these decades of pain to help those who are exactly at the same painful place where I come from. And it wouldn't have to take 30 years like it was for me. And that becomes a business.
Welcome to the How to Heart Show, helping men reconnect to the heart and empower others as the leaders they were born to be. I'm Vincent Haasboom. My mission is to help you speak your truth, own your authenticity, and step into your power. The world needs the raw and authentic man right now. Join us if you're ready to make a change. Hey, what's up, Lions, and welcome to the How to Heart Show. I brought an amazing special guest today, and it's a specialist about self-worth. And the reason that I brought Endre on the show is because I struggled a lot with my self-worth. I didn't feel good enough. I wasn't seeing my value. I was really struggling with that. And I saw a lot of people struggling with it as well. And I felt like Endre is the perfect fit to have this conversation because it's really crucial. And I feel like we don't talk about it enough, about the self-worth. So I'm really, really grateful that Endre took the time to be here. So I'm here with Endre Hoffmann. He's a specialist in the self-development, in relationships and all of that. So I'm looking forward to go deeper in his journey and also to discover what he found and really to go back into the self-worth. So Endre, welcome to the show.
Thanks very much. It's good to be here. I'm excited to have this conversation. I hope I can help your audience to, unlock their true, authentic self to really play life effortlessly.
Absolutely. So, Endre, can you share in a nutshell who you are and what you do and what is your specialty?
Sure, I'm known as the Doctor of Self-Worth, and it's a journey for the last 6 years of my life. I've been coming from lack of self-worth, and I'm now helping business owners, business leaders. Some are moms, some are people, individuals who are lacking confidence, who are lacking that self-belief, that are at times stressed or feeling overwhelmed and not being able to deal with the world, to unlock their potential, to be able to live the life they deserve. And I have a quick method to locate limitations, either emotional or mindset wise, sometimes that not feeling good enough, unworthiness that I was dealing with. And I help them to multiply their impact in life and business, to unlock emotional freedom, because that emotional freedom that externalizes, so they're able to have the life they love to live. That's me shortly.
And what I want to go deeper in is for the self-worth. How was it for you with your self-worth? Did you struggle, or was it for you like really easy to locate the self-worth and really like plow through life and gain everything that you want in life? How was it for you?
Well, my journey, 80% of my life was a struggle. It was difficult. I thought I'm helpless. I'm the case that will never be resolved. So almost 50 now, but until the age of 43, it's been a 34-year journey for me to find myself, my true, authentic self. And it started in childhood. I had a very difficult relationship with my dad. He was highly critical of me, of everyone else. And he brought home his fears, his blaming everyone for things, his anger. And unfortunately, I was exposed to his energy. And before I knew, I felt unworthy. As a child, I felt unworthy of his love and attention. He was quite ignorant, too busy doing his business. And it took me down to these feelings of insecurities, self-doubt, and these emotions and feelings have been running my life for the next 30 years. And I became a high achiever to impress my dad, gain his love. Well, it didn't work. I won, I think it was 13 years old when we won the national championship in basketball with the team. I was running marathons, all these crazy things to win his probably attention and love, but he didn't have any for himself. Certainly he didn't have for me or for anyone in the family. So there was always this need to prove myself, this need to feel accepted and loved, and I never got it from him. And I became embarrassed when I had to talk to more than two people. I was having this feeling of unfit to perform at places, and I was struggling for most of the relationships I had with girls. And later on, I was so disconnected from myself, I ended up working in the banking industry because I thought the only way to feel sure about myself, sure about the world or the future, is to earn a lot of money. So that's how I picked my career. And for 5 years, I didn't find myself at the right place working in banking, to be honest. And then I was still searching for answers. I moved to Ireland, later on for 7 years in New Zealand, and I had extensive travels because I was searching for answers outside. I knew something was wrong with my dad and myself. And this soul search took me to becoming an entrepreneur and running businesses that didn't go well because of these patterns of not good enough, the unworthiness. I traveled a lot of countries looking for spiritual gurus to tell me what's wrong with me. I became very spiritual because I thought I'll find the answers, and I meditated, and I was looking for a psychologist, and I read probably hundreds and hundreds of books, hoping that the final answer would be in it. And I believe I didn't look for one place, in my heart or in my head, because I didn't know how. I didn't have the tools. And about 12 years ago, we kind of moved back to Europe, and I was hoping that the freedom that I was looking for, the next version of me, will come through entrepreneurship. And I landed on a lot of personal development events. It cost me $100,000. Tony Robbins, John DeMartini, the biggest names today. And they were not able to unlock my potential because I think they were not one-on-one, and they were not tailored to me. These were, most of them are high-ticket programs, and it took me probably another 10 years, spending a lot of money to eventually get to the point where my life was about to collapse. I had 2 children and a wife, and by the time we were living here in Australia, and unfortunately I had this working hard pattern. I believed I had to work hard for money, and there's not enough, this scarcity mindset, and it's an epidemic today. And I got to the point where I worked 12-hour days, and I worked 3 hours in my side business to break out of the 12-hour job. I had the 2 children and the wife, and my health was deteriorating from doing all this work. And eventually my wife asked me, is it time for us to divorce? And that was a massive wake-up call to change something completely. And then I made a decision. I think that's when I became 100% committed. That has brought the change. And I said, okay, I'll give up all of my other goals. I had financial goals. I had a whole list of things that didn't work. And I said, well, this will be the last thing for my life. And the only thing, if it takes me for the rest of my life, I'll work out this self-worth issue, this lack of confidence issue, these inner doubts and insecurities in me. And from making that decision, it only took about 6 to 12 months. It was interesting, like 34 years of feeling stuck, and then letting go of plan B and C, because I had these escape patterns. That's how I responded to challenges. When it became so discomfortable for me, I always moved to another country thinking that would be the solution. So then I attracted a mindset coach, someone who was able to spend some one-on-one time with me, and we resolved. I found a new version of me that unlocked the doctor of self-worth. And ever since, when I came through these transformations of feeling completely different about myself, I've been helping others in groups and one-on-one, and that's how the doctor of self-worth been born, and acting and helping others to unlock freedom, a life of potential, and multiplying their impact and their results in business, because we've been free ever since I've traveled a lot with my family, which I thought was impossible. And my children have a new dad present, unlike my dad. Been taking them on journeys around Europe last year for 6 months. We traveled around with a caravan while I was still running my business. Can you believe? And I'm in the process of moving ourselves back to Europe. So it's very exciting. It's a new way to live. It's effortless. Have you got any specific questions about this journey?
Well, I had some things that came up, and I feel like this something that's really important, and that's the father and son relationship, because I feel like there's a lot of men, they don't have the role model that they want from a father, so they look at outside of themselves, looking for other role models, and they find bad friends, or the mother will fill in the role as the masculine man that she cannot do. So we're looking for ways or something will replace it. So how was it for you to realize like, hey, my dad is not giving me the right tools or the masculine drive or the masculinity or the role as a man? What was it for you that you realized and to really want to make the change for yourself? And how do you see it with other people that they are looking outside of themselves and not understanding they never had a male role model?
Well, what a good question. The reason for them being stuck, and that was the same for me, because I had these mind viruses planted in my mind about lack of self-belief, lack of confidence, and these beliefs of I'm not good enough, or I'm weak and I have to prove myself. They have become a reality. So imagine a person who has these beliefs, because beliefs run our lives. Then I became, and people stuck, they are becoming a magnet for experiences, events, and people and relationships where these beliefs become a reality. So, for example, I was attracting people who seemed to be very confident. I was always comparing myself. So the word, as such, the 3D word I had, was proving me that my beliefs were correct. Because unfortunately, the human mind that most of these men blessed with or cursed with is filtering a lot of experiences out. We can only process less than 1%. Less than 1% of what actually happens in any situation. And the filters are the beliefs that we hold on to, normally since childhood. And that's the problem. Because since childhood, we haven't got filters. We haven't got the critical part of the brain developed. So we take all the things that happen to us, and sometimes it's modeling a wounded dad who has his own emotional and psychological problems, and we take that as a map for life. And we try to use someone else's map or a young child's map to then thrive in life with a mind that is coming from survival. The subconscious mind is designed to look for threats, to run anxiety as a default program, because evolution has developed us to look out for problems and then try to avoid them or survive them so we can have the next generation out and survive enough to give life. But imagine that's a place to survive. That's how these people live. And until they come out of their own little bubble, because that was it for me. And until someone points out the blind spots that, hey, are you aware of? You have these very, very limiting beliefs. It will be a very difficult journey because they are still, imagine me with all of these filters in front of my eyes, a lot of beliefs, looking for evidence of my self not being good enough. You always find what you look for. That's the trick of the mind. So unfortunately, I believe the fastest way is to seek help, because it will take decades to do the work on their own. And we got specialists now. We got eye specialists, we got brain specialists, people who have done the journey. So it doesn't need to take a long time. It doesn't need to take years of therapy. It's not true. We got high-tech tools to create shifts. And this is pretty much every area of life. It only takes a committed person who had enough.
That's quite a story, and thank you for sharing. And what I really want to go deeper on is really with your father. How did you feel that you didn't really have a father? Because I think there's a lot of boys that they see their father, but they don't really look up to them because they don't feel the connection. So how was it for you that you didn't feel connected with your father?
Well, I had this losing battle. It was really about trying to please him to win some love. But he was totally unaware. This man we had a few physical abuse situations as well, but mostly it was psychic. Mostly it was about verbal abuse. And the real issue was I could not, because my focus wasn't figuring out what's wrong with me. That was the biggest limitation. And I could not find out how I have slept, what has gone wrong. And I was looking for faults in myself before I woke up, probably about the age of 15, 20. When I was, turning outside, there's this age of 12, 14. We call them teenagers. Like that's the time when kids tends to wake up and look around in the world outside of the family, when they realize, oh, there are actually different type of men out there. And I believe that is a shift. The problem is the map. It's almost like if I give you a map to get to the Big Ben, and it's a New York map. The streets are looking okay. Even the street names are looking okay. And then you go in circles and you're not getting the results that you want because you're using an incorrect map. And you can see the destination, yet getting lost in life. That's normally the case of dads who have not been a proper role model, especially around being there, not just physically, but emotionally. And there's been a lot of trauma around men who have been struggling through the ages to fulfill money, the stress. Being a dad, it has not been easy for the last few decades with, for example, in my country as well. It's a predominantly communist country.
And how was it for your health? I'm really curious. What did it for your health? Were you overweight? Were you sleeping bad? Were you eating bad? You didn't work out. So how was your health?
Probably I was very lucky because I became a high achiever. So remember, through the trauma, there are different ways for the mind to process and, let's say, respond. My way of responding was, well, I must stand out. I must find ways to impress. I must, because I never felt good enough, I realized now I really have to prove myself to everyone, everywhere. Like that's pretty bad too, because I had this inner drive. I was challenging myself in every possible way. And maybe with the traveling in 70 plus countries it was one way to prove myself that I'm good enough and I can afford it, because as a child I could not do some travels which would have been a wonderful thing, and my parents didn't allow me at the time. But also, I was going for external validation. And I think that's the biggest downfall. When one is looking for someone else to tell me that, hey, you're good, you're okay. Because when you come from that limitation, it will be really difficult to find someone because you're looking for quite the opposite experience all the time.
That's the things that you've said. It's I hear so much about myself, especially in my journey. I was also going outside of myself, and sometimes I'm still in doing that, looking for ways to fill the void. I was not a high achiever. I was the other way around. I was hiding. I was avoiding. I was not looking for the conflict. I was always numbing myself with pornography or video games or
Mm.
movies, TV shows. I was always looking for a way out instead of achieving or do things that I wanted to do because of fear. But it's really funny when you said like you were for 3 decades or something like that, you were struggling and then you found something and it was gone. It was just you found the right answers to your issues. So what was that? What was the moment that you had the aha moment? Like, wow, is this it? This is why I've been struggling so much?
It's almost like, you know, this black box in the airplanes. It's almost like getting into the cockpit, which runs someone's life. This subconscious, powerful engine, which runs all of the experiences, processing events, information. And I started to realize, well, I was causing most of my pain all along, but I didn't know how. And I believe, stage one is finding out how and why someone is sabotaging oneself. And once they understand, it's about changing the filtering system. Because remember, there's millions and millions of things out there, you know, notifications, visual. If you walk out into the city, imagine we all have the human mind which grabs on certain things that are relevant to us. And the relevancy comes from how we are, let's say, prepared for life. What is the map telling us to look for? So basically, what needs to be changed is what you're looking for. You probably want to look for abundance, feeling respected or good enough, or maybe even powerful, confident. And it's been out there for ages. But if you have that wrong filter I showed you, like this needs to come off, because you always find what you focus on. It's the normal notion of glass half empty or half full. It comes back to that simple equation. And I believe NLP and some of the methods that I have learned along the journey, it only takes me about 45 minutes to, and I give it free to really diagnose what runs one's psychology and emotions. What are the basic themes where they are getting themselves into self-sabotage? And as you mentioned, I believe a big one, when one cannot deal with the trauma, addiction. Like the mind loves easy fix. What's the easiest way for me to feel better? Oh, alcohol, pornography, video games, whatever it is. It works on the basic principle of shortcuts and then reapplies the numbing, the pain, as if, as if it worked somewhat before. Then it automates distraction, it automates addiction, because it doesn't have a better answer. That's where someone, I believe, is needed to, because I believe addiction problems do not exist. I know they call them that way, and I know there is medications, all of these things, but the root of it is a human need that has not been met. And that's how I help people release addictions fairly fast. Because when they realize why in the first place they started to use addictions, because the intention is always positive. Like the mind doesn't have these bad intentions. Then it's about finding out how else they could fulfill the need that serves them. That's all it takes. But as I said, the reason it works for everyone who works with me, it's because they are highly committed. That's how I select client. That's a must have.
Just like you said, it's the easy way to run after something that's close by, then chase something or go after or attract something that's far away out of your reach that you need to work for. It's also building a business. People think when they start a business, they're going to be rich overnight. No, it takes time. It takes education, skills, mindset, belief. It's not coming dropping out of the air that you're going to be a millionaire. You also have to work. But we're, like you said, we're now in this society that we've been made lazy. We're not want to work for anything. That's why we stay at a boss working a 9 to 5, because it's safe. It keeps us the check every month. But it's an illusion because you're not free. It keeps you still stuck. So I want to go more a little bit back, and I really want to talk about the self-worth and the self-value. It's what does it mean? Because I think a lot of people, when they hear self-worth, they don't understand really what it means. So what is self-worth?
What a great question. I had so many conversations about this. I believe it's predominantly about the value you put on yourself, how you see yourself. I think it's very connected to self-image and what
Mm.
you deserve in life. And remember, these beliefs are running the experiences that you have. It runs almost like this thermostat. Most of them are on a roller coaster ride, having a comfort zone. A good example is if you're let's say, it's almost like a financial thermostat. If you are a 50,000 euro employee, 80,000 or 100,000 will feel congruent to this self image or self worth. But let's say tomorrow your boss says to you, well, you've got another promotion, another chance for you to work at this job because now we have to move you on, and here's 20,000 euros for a year. Would that be okay? Well, a voice inside you says, no way. I will get another job because I deserve more. How congruent that is. Well, imagine every area of life we have, let's say, a certain unconscious expectation that, hey, that's my standard. So self-worth boosting is taking that to another level. Not just finances. It's about satisfaction, about enjoying what you do, your level of happiness. And of course, relationships, which is a cornerstone of life. Because relationships affect, business, love, and we're raising the bar. We're putting new norms in place so you have more of what you want, and really taking out, because it's about taking out those restrictions that you have unconsciously taken on sometime before, always coming from the past. Because remember, this is the tricky one. The brain that runs people's lives are nothing but a wonderful, let's say, a recording device from day one of your life, and maybe even before. If you want to create a new life, then how is this going to serve you? It will only give you the answers that you learn in a life that you don't want anymore. It's killing your results because it can only work out the answers from the past. So I believe that's why there needs to be a mentor, coach, someone who has done the journey and able to shorten the path. I believe. I'm not too sure if I answered your question. Sometimes I get carried away.
No, that's fine. You explained it really well. And what really came to me was, why do people don't go for their ultimate life, that they want to achieve like the highest value of themselves, that they want to get what they want in life. Why do you see people still like, no, I'm not gonna do it, no, this is not for me, or no, this is too difficult, no, I've done it before and I'm not gonna do it again because of pain or trauma? Why do you think people don't want to achieve like what they want in life? You see it with people, they keep complaining,
Yeah.
but they don't take action.
Well, you really nailed it. What you said is, it's too difficult. It's not for me. I cannot succeed. I don't believe in myself. These are all beliefs that has
Yeah.
roots in the past. Imagine if someone keeps retelling the same stories to oneself, they become beliefs. Because by that time it's been hundreds and hundreds of events when this person learned to avoid risky, learned to avoid the 50 or let's say 100,000 euro opportunities. And when they become ingrained beliefs, well, they start to block them out. They start to live a life with goggles. And everything outside of it, abundance, love, joy, is blocked out. Because they come to believe that they don't deserve it. They come to believe that, oh, that's for someone else, not for me. So the mind tricks them. And unfortunately, blessed with this human mind comes limitations. Too many limitations. Change is not difficult, not hard. Just it requires a special tool. It's almost like, have you ever seen how they change the oil filter on cars? They
No,
have
I
this
haven't.
they have this stupid tool that they can just get in there, pull down this sort of this size oil filter on normal cars. If you saw that device, you would be surprised how that doesn't look anything special. But with that, simple and easy. They just take the oil filter off and then put on the next one. I've been struggling to do it on my own. I said, well, I'm not going to pay for this. I've seen how they did it, and I didn't have the tool. I didn't have the specific tool to resolve the problem. And it was a messy job. And it didn't work. And I was struggling. And yeah, it became nasty. I needed external help eventually. So it really pays finding, I believe, the specialists. And I always tell people, look someone who has a reputation to resolve the problem that you have. That's all you need to know. Because he's already done the journey one, like look for authenticity. But secondly, if he was able to deliver the results with the problems that you have, well, pretty much you will get the formula. Or they will take you through it. But as you said, this mind has this hanging on to the status quo. Like it actually fulfills its needs by hanging on to what is or what was in the past. And that's how people like myself, I self-sabotage myself looking for what's not working because I was still hanging on to the old map. Like this mind loves what it knows. That feels secure, that feels familiar, that feels safe. It's almost like a mind from 200,000 years ago. You remember people in the cave? Well, I know the area front of the cave, that's where I pick my little food and I can catch a rabbit. And I will sort of supply everything for my family. But I see that big plain with the mammoth where, there is abundance. There's beautiful green trees and berries I could pick, but that I have to cross that plain, which is full of threats I don't even know about. That's how the mind tends to think. And it says, well, I need to survive. And to survive, I need to hang on to what I know and that's familiar. Equals safe in here. If that one runs someone's life, it will be a life of struggle and survival. thriving, happiness has never been on the agenda of the mind. Never. It almost needs to be reinstalled and relearned because that's now not how we are wired. Like me, I spent over $100,000 on all of these programs that did not work because I was still not ready for change, probably. I needed more pain, more life had to squash me, literally, to say, I'm out. I don't care what it takes anymore. And once, someone's at that point, magically, the subconscious mind gets it, that it's time. And that's what I help people with. That gets me so excited, and that's why I can guarantee results. Because see, the problem that I had, I spent over $100,000 and I never got guarantee for results. I think it's unfair to give away programs that has no specific results and then not deliver it. I believe a change must come into the industry. And I'm happy to give someone's money back because I believe I did not deliver. It's a totally new mindset. When people are, well, I'm not trying to help you. And I think a time will come when people will see who is real, who is really creating freedom, emotional freedom, who is bringing results to the table. And it's already happening.
Yeah, what you said was really really nice, because what people don't know or they don't look for is the mind is taking control, but it's also unconsciously is the programming that you've been, like you said, that you've been telling yourself over and over again, that you start to believe in it. But it's also the hurt, the pain that was causing it, because I saw it with my own journey when I was attracted to somebody for women that I was attracted to. I had this belief that I wasn't good enough, or I wasn't a good lover. But how do I know? How do I know if it's real or not? But I made those excuses so I don't have to take the risk, walk up to her and say like, hey, I like you. So that's also what you see in today's society. We're always telling ourselves not to do it so we keep ourselves safe. But we miss out on so many opportunities. We miss out on business opportunities, we potential partners, you name it. And it's really sad because we listen to the inner voice that's not even real. You telling yourself that you cannot do it, or you're telling yourself that you're not good enough. You listen to it and you don't even take action to say, hey, is this real? Is it really the voice that is telling me is right? We don't test it. We don't go out and really challenge yourself like what you did to overcome those obstacles.
You're right. And until
So
that,
Andre,
go ahead.
yeah, go on.
So there needs to be someone to say, hey, stop that train of thought that you practice so well 1,000 times. Because that does not serve you. That's not even true. And that's where I believe change is fast at that point. Because we rehearse self-sabotage, we rehearse these stories, and I believe then they become real. Like politicians do this, right? You repeat a message long enough, people will accept it as real. That's why I haven't been watching television for 20 years and didn't allow my family to watch it. Because I believe it's toxic. It's mind control.
Yeah.
But we do the same to ourselves. Most people live, I call it a self-hypnotic trance, convincing themselves about how life is or what's not possible. And they win until someone comes and says, hey, that's not what you want, by the way. And that's not how we get there. So let's fix the formula so you get more and more of what you want. And I believe that's what happens through kind of sessions with me. Like every time there is a gradual shift in emotions and through the filters that one deserves, getting more and more.
Andre, I had this question that you said I struggled a lot. And what were those struggles, and what were the struggles that you see with the people that you help? The
And
most
most of the
common.
time, It's the epidemic is not feeling good enough, not feeling up to it, not feeling smart enough. Scarcity mindset. There is not enough money. There is not enough time. Because that's the past. That's where they come from. So they this is the real addiction, Vincent. The real addiction to believe this. Because remember, then every experience is then attracted and built to prove it to be true. It's massive fun. But once we take away that game, that filter, they are not blocking out anymore reflect or their own genius or abundance and opportunities. They've been there for a long time. But if they are blind to it, then it does not exist for them. So we are pretty much uncovering what's been provided long time ago.
And that's also how people, yeah, I want to share, this came up to me. This is also why people go into depressions, because I saw with myself, I've been so depressed, I've been so angry at myself that I didn't take action. But it was easy for me to take the action, to face the fear and just do it and see what's going to happen, instead of being in my bed just crying and not feeling good enough. I have a choice. I can stay in my bed crying and not doing anything and be in my victim mentality, or I can say, okay, I'm going to do it. I'm going to go out there and I'm going to see what's going to happen. So was it also for you that you're like been depressed, or with the people that you work with, that you see they become depressed because they don't take action?
Well, there's a. I think at times it's complex how people arrive into depression, but it's from if I really make it simple, then they look at and obsess about what's not working and the
Mm-hmm.
negative experiences of their life, and they replay that. And when you start to replay that, then your focus, energy, and attention is on it. Soul, or who we are, is attracting and creating on what they pay attention to or put their focus on. So then they just attract more and more and more of that. This is a simple law. But people who are in it, they cannot understand these mechanics. It's almost like this black hole in the universe, and that has this gravitational pull. And again, remember, familiar. Maybe dad or mom had similar patterns where they were looking at, the negative things in life for being sort of critical. And now the pull, and with the emotional trauma, this feels just right. And I'm coming in and I'll help them to break away from that gravitational pull of the past. But they need to want it. That's the thing. They need to have enough of that. And that needs to have a certain level of pain. Because when I hate to say this, but when people suffered enough, as you did probably, you were ready to shift. How interesting, huh? But it takes a certain level to gain enough pain. And pain drives psychology. Pain drives people to want to have new experiences. And that's how they seek me out, probably. When they tried everything else, it didn't work. And then they want to have a chat.
Yeah, it's true. I totally agree. I've been also like you said in your conversation with me, I've been searching so long, looking for answers. How can I fix myself? Like you said, I also coaching, books. It became an addiction because I was looking for answers, but it wasn't even there. And I lost you. Oh, there you are.
Yeah.
And I was looking for answers, but in the end, the answers were in me because I knew the answers already. I knew what I had to do, but I was doing exactly what you were saying. I was holding on to the old me, to the old past that wasn't good enough, or I'm not smart enough, or I cannot do this podcast, or will people listen to me? All these conversations, and it wasn't taking me anywhere. I just need to start recording and publish. That's how I know if people will like it or not. And in the end, it's all the belief. It doesn't matter if people like me or not, or like you or not, because the right people will come to you. but it
Mm.
doesn't mean I have to stop because a few people say they don't like it. And that's what you see. People give up because they're so attached to the outcome, or they're so attached what other people think of them, that they quit when they're so close to success. And it's also like you say, we were so focused on us, on me, that we don't look outside of ourselves or enjoy the moments that we see in front of us, or the sun is coming up. We're just only focused on what you said, on the past, and not what is now in the moment. What do we have now? So I think that's also a nice jump that we can make, is also the awareness, right, Andre? It's so important to be aware also about your habits, your traumas, and all of that, right?
Absolutely. There is a way out. And yes, as you said, the need for perfection is another epidemic. And this comes from the school system. The school system is always pointing out what you have made a mistake about. And that's why my kids are not going to school. Because I don't want them to have that self-critical map installed. It took me 25 years after school to start to realize how detrimental it was to be, well, suggested that I'm not perfect and I'm not delivering certain things. Because I think it's about thriving. It's about finding what one loves and keep practicing for maybe a future self who is arriving to a professional level. That's all it takes. But one needs to love the process, whether it's podcasting or whether it's, helping others, or whether it's running or skiing, no difference. I think that's where one becomes pretty much unbeatable. If you love what you do, then you're not attached to results or circumstances or anything. Then you're doing it because you either believe in it, you connected to it. Of course, you will have more and more results in the process because you go deeper and deeper. And that's how I believe personal brands are now created. People come to realize their own journey, like me, and they realize, well, maybe it wasn't for nothing. Maybe I can use these decades of pain to help those who are exactly at the same painful place where I come from. And it wouldn't have to take 30 years like it was for me. And that becomes a business. It's fairly simple these days, but they need to see their value first. Remember, self-worth. To see the value in their own journey, then to give it to others. Also, I share some of my story and some of the exercises that I do my methodology through free ebook on my website. Do you want me to share that?
Well, I will share everything in the show notes so people can look for it themselves. But I want to focus on some questions because it's a really good topic to talk about. And what I really want to go to is, I had a really good question, but let me think. No, I cannot. It's lost. But the transition that I want to make then is, in your own journey. I know exactly what I want to say. I start with myself, also with the pain, my journey, like you. I turning it now into helping other people. I can also keep the knowledge and the things to myself, but that would be selfish. I rather give it out to people and help them because we've been there. So we can help and educate other people. But like you said, you have to do it yourself. You have to make the start to start investing in yourself, spend a lot of time in yourself, because you have to relearn and install new maps, like you said, to go where you want to go, because we've been brainwashed. There's so much trash in your head, believing that you're not capable of becoming greater. So that was for me also my pain points, my downfalls, everything what happened to me. I will bring it back where I am today and made a decision like, hey, I can do something with this. And also, there's a lot of people, they have a story to share, or a tool that they have. It's so accessible, and it's so good to share, because we need to help each other. You see, there's so much propaganda, fighting each other, hatred to each other, and we need to stop that. Why do we hate each other? When there's love, we can help each other grow, become better. So I wanted to add that before I forgot. But Andre, I really like the talk. It's really crucial, right? Especially as you want to, if you want to grow and not be stuck in the past, it's really crucial to start working on yourself. So I wanted to make a jump on the tips that you can give to the listeners. What if you see in your own journey that's really important, and you want to give some tips to the listeners to start on their own journey and create awareness and look for what they can do in their own lives.
Yes, just one thing to maybe just give you back. I think the trick living on this planet is it's not designed for you to be free. It's unfortunately a place where people are manipulated to be controlled. And when you understand this, listening to us or listening to the truth, then you understand that following the crowd, there is a saying in New Zealand, if you follow the herd, you will step follow the herd, you will step into shit. And that has so much truth in it. If you want to have a different result, you have to do something different than most of the people who are living like victims. And so the three things that really come to mind is probably one is you need to entertain the idea change is possible. Now, that's an important one. That change is possible. But secondly, and this was a big one for me, change is possible for you. For you. And then all you need to do is look for someone who has done it, but not just done it. Because there's a lot of people who have been sort of successful in business, they don't teach it. They don't show you the way, or they don't know how to teach. But you want to look for someone who has done it, and this to me is authentic, and someone who has been helping others to resolve whatever you're dealing with. These are the four things you really need. And then stick to the process and experience change and commit to it. And if it's not working, please leave it. Please leave it behind. If you don't feel change, if you don't feel things are shifting for you, after months and months of work, doing whatever they are claiming to work, then probably you are at the wrong place. And probably your mind is playing with you again. But if you do your research, and these 4 points are really powerful, then you can't get it wrong. I mean, look at reviews. You want to expect powerful reviews. People who have done the journey before you did. And then it becomes a fairly simple journey. And get some guarantees if you can. That's always good, right? When you're not wasting your time and money. I think that's important.
Absolutely, I totally agree. It's so important to look for help and don't be ashamed about it, and look for the right people, because also, like you said, there's a lot of gurus, there's a lot of people that are coaches because they want to make a profit out of you, but they don't have the experience or the knowledge, and they don't know what they're talking about. And I'm not saying that everybody's bad, but you need to be careful and also listen to your heart, because it's your compass. It will, your gut feeling will tell you if somebody fits with you right or not. If you talk with somebody, you feel right away like, hey, this person, I don't feel right about him or her. Don't go with it. Listen to the gut feeling, listen to your heart, and just say like, no, I'm not gonna go there, or I'm not gonna talk with this person. So that's also really important, that you stay true to yourself and listen what is being telling you. But also what Andre said was really nice, and I'm really happy that he shared that, is don't follow the crowd. Don't do what everybody else is doing. Don't do what other people is telling you to do. Listen to yourself. Listen what is important to you. Listen to what is your heart is telling you that you need to do. For me, it was also not right away that my heart was at podcasting. It took me years also to learn and understand myself before I got to the point that I need to do podcasting. I know I have to do this, and it's important. And it's for Andre exact the same thing. He had an entire journey for him to understand that what he's doing now, it's important. It's his drive. It's what he is meant to do. And it's all because of the pain and the suffering and everything that he's been through. And for me, it's the same. So don't see the things that you've been through as a negative force. See something as positive. change that, like with your mind, change it from the negative into the positive, and it will change your life. I've been also like suffering, but I told myself, why I keep suffering so much? Why I'm not telling myself, hey, I'm gonna make a nice day today? So that is also a nice switch, right? With the mindset and how you talk to yourself. I want to touch a little bit about that.
Thanks for pointing this out, because, well, that question is a killer one. It keeps someone in the trauma. Like, the question is, why things are not working? Why am I suffering so much? Imagine you putting a Google search into the recording device from the past. Now, what do you think it's going to present to you? All the reasons why you're not worthy, why you're useless, and why you're self-sabotaging yourself. It will present the evidence and will keep you exactly at the same spot. So I catch these self-sabotaging patterns. Because remember, mine doesn't come with an instruction manual. Hey, that's how we use it. Actually, we need to focus on what we want. There's no manual instruction. And most of the time, as children, we see people who have their own trouble and trauma, and we're lucky if we haven't been abused in some way. Now, with all of that, you have this Ferrari, your mind, to drive you pretty much anywhere. You've lost the key, or you're driving it in first gear, and wondering why you're not getting there. Well, probably you need an instructor to use the power that you already have. That's, I believe, what it takes. And probably get some securities behind the work. Make sure that you get results in some way. Get your money back. You deserve it.
Absolutely. That's is really nice and beautiful that you said that. And that's the thing that people need to see for themselves, that they are worth it, that you are good enough, that you're capable of so many things, but you've been suppressed because their fear of you growing and become more, it's a threat. So it's also for family. You see it with family and friends. They sometimes they put you down because it's safe for them to keep you down. But for you, you want to reach levels, you want to go up. So you need to make the decision for yourself and like, no, I'm not going to listen to you. I'm going to do it for myself because it's important for me, not for you or not for somebody else, because people will come and go out of your life. People will die eventually. So why are you keep pretending to be somebody that you're not? Or are you going to, like what Andre did, like reach these high levels for somebody else when this person might die the next day or something happened to them or whatever it can happen? You need to take good care of yourself and see what's important to you. So that's I really like that you made the jump. So thank you so much, Andre, for that. And I have a final question for you that I always like to ask my guests, and that is, what are you most proud of? What is Andre most proud of in his life?
Well, probably, and this will reflect on the last topic that you brought up, this fitting in. Probably I'm the proudest that I never gave up. I knew there was a different version of me somewhere in the future, because the journey was troublesome. And my need to fit in, to be loved and accepted in this family which had massive scarcity mindset, and they still have it, was almost overpowering me for a long time. But remember, if you see another reality and someone that inspires you, somehow they have built that life, somehow they have got those results. And this is a proof that it's possible. That means if you are able to match their how they feel about things, what the associations, what is the engine in their head, you pretty much will have the same results. Not copying, but we call this modeling, where you really look at the self-image they run and operate by, their behavior operates from, literally gives you on a silver plate a new life. Again, you need to understand the mechanics. How does that happen? And that's what I believe proper mentors and coaches do. They shorten the journey, they shortcut, so you wouldn't have to go through the trouble and struggle and pain and not getting results. And the problem is on the journey when you are not getting results, you're missing out opportunities in relationships, in business, in every area of life, because you still have the blinders on, you're looking for what you want, and you haven't got a clear vision.
Perfect. The thing that I want to add is looking for what you want, but look for what you really want and not what other people want for you. Because sometimes you want things that you don't need, buying shoes that you don't need, or buying clothes that you don't need. So also look for things that's important to you, that you want to spend your time, your money, and your effort on. Like what Andre said, if you want to hire a coach or Andre or somebody else, listen to your heart, to your heart. Is this the right person for me? Is this the person that's going to bring me further? If not, say no. That's also what you see today in society. They're afraid to say no, just like me. I've been a people pleaser, also a nice guy. I've been always avoiding the yes and always the no. It's always was always scary. I didn't want to hear the no, but I had to learn to say the no as well. So people have to learn also to do that as well. If it doesn't feel right, say no. And I wanted to really say that to end the conversation here. So Andre, thank you so much. It's been an absolute pleasure. I've learned so much. You have so much knowledge, and we can talk about like hours and hours and hours about this because it's a really good topic. And I'm really happy that you're doing this work and also bring the self worth and everything that you do. And it's, yeah, absolute amazing the work that you do. So, Andre, thank you so much for that.
Thanks very much. It was certainly, for me, the best investment of my time and money when I realized change is possible, and it's change possible anyone else who is ready. Thank you.
And everybody can do it. That's also what I like what you said. Everybody can do it. There's not that you cannot make millions. You can do it too. It doesn't matter where you come from and doesn't matter who you are. You can achieve the life that you want. And it's all inside of you. So you have the potential. Don't forget about that. So Andre, again, thank you so much. Do you also have a free gift that you wanted to share?
Absolutely. I do have an ebook. It's titled How to Discover Your Authentic Self Faster Than You Ever Thought Possible, where I give away the methodology that I use. So you could use those exercises to look at you under a magnifying glass to really see and create new awareness, because it's all about pretty much awareness, and it's available on my website. It's www.doctor doctor of self-worth.com on the resources tab. And also there's a free quick test, self-worth test, which only takes about 5 minutes to really try and you need to be specific about what your challenge really is, and that test will help you to pinpoint maybe what you might be operating from and that you are unaware of. And that's exciting because every new awareness brings you new insight, new understanding, and probably new results in your life.
Okay, cool. And also, how can they follow you? I really like also to mention that as well, that they really, to the listeners, follow Andre, look out his content and give him a like for his work because you can see he is so passionate about it and he wants the best for you and for everybody else. So, what are your socials, Andre?
I do have a newsletter that's self-worth boosting newsletter every week, so it's free to subscribe to that on my website. But on social media, probably if you put in hashtag Doctor of Self-Worth, then I have a Facebook page. I think it's Doctor of Self-Worth, and between every word there's an underscore on Instagram. Probably we could put all of these links under the video, but you'll find me
Yeah,
on
I put it in the show notes.
Twitter and X, LinkedIn, as well as TikTok. Also, as a few short videos I started to share, because self-worth, I believe, is the basic pillar for a charged and exciting life. Let's
I
put that
agree.
in place for people.
I will. And again, Andre, danke schön for your time, and it's been a pleasure.
Bitteschön.
Hey Lions, thank you for listening. Glad to have you on our journey to the authentic self. Want to learn more to embrace your potential? I invite you to keep listening. Do me a favor and smash the like and subscribe buttons, as this helps the show reach more listeners who need to hear these messages. See you next time.